listening to the Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast, a podcast in sisterhood for female entrepreneurs that serves up savvy, actionable marketing advice and interviews with creative business owners who are in the trenches, building their businesses as we speak. The Marketing in Yoga Pants community is for you, the girl on her couch, in her yoga pants, top knot tight, hunched over her MacBook, trying her hardest to get the word out about her business. So in the name of supporting each other while supporting ourselves, bringing community, sound marketing advice, coffee, chocolate, and wine together for you, yoga pants wearing business owner, in a world where followers mean nothing but paying customers mean the world, join us on this week's podcast episode and in our private Facebook group where you'll meet your soul sisters and build your business in yoga pants. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast. I'm Brit Kolo, and I'm here today with just me. It's a solocast. I am rounding out the end of season 2 with a little bit of a celebration with this podcast episode, a recap of what's been going on over the last couple of months throughout season 2, and what to expect in season 3, because you know we're doing season 3, right? So first of all, season 2. We're done, you guys. Holy smokes. How did that happen? First of all, thank you so much for all of our interviewees. If you've listened to the podcast up until this point, you know that they are all total rock stars. I mean, we got to speak to so many different types of people in season 2, which was so good. And I plan to bring that same eclectic vibe to season 3. I've just finished up those interviews for season 3, and I can tell you they will not disappoint. They will not disappoint. They are, again, amazing value, amazing quality, and I can't wait to release them all to you. Honestly, this whole podcast thing with the release of every week is kind of frustrating because I just want to give it all to you. But I know nobody would be able to take all of that in and put it to you. So we will continue to drip weekly, but just know that I've really been enjoying speaking with these women, but also sharing these conversations with you. On that note, over the last 2 months you've heard the podcast, but within the Marketing in Yoga Pants Sisterhood, we've introduced a few new things. First of all, I email all of our sisters. If you are one of the Marketing in Yoga Pants sisters, you get an email every Monday morning. And these emails are not about marketing, right? So that might be a little weird. And I understand that maybe some people get into the group and into the sisterhood thinking that it's all going to be marketing. And that's just not really me. Marketing is a huge part of what we talk about, but Monday mornings, I get to sit down and write a little bit of my heart to you. And those emails have been not only feeling really great to me, but also, I think, resonating in a really meaningful way with those who are reading them. And so that's been a really fun journey to explore and get a feel for. I'm getting more comfortable with those, which is good. And again, I think the readers are enjoying them week after week. So that's always good, right? We've also incorporated a few free trainings. So at the end of season 1, I did get some feedback about incorporating some more of that marketing type training. And so I did offer a couple free trainings, recorded them, and put them in a Thinkific account. If you're not familiar with Thinkific, it's a place where a lot of online entrepreneurs host their online courses. And so they're set up as courses. They're usually pretty short little trainings to get through, but those are there for bigger questions that I can't answer maybe in a comment in the Facebook group, right? So that we've dabbled a little bit over there. And then through that process, through recording some trainings and getting used to that, I decided that moving forward, it would be so incredibly helpful to host an open Q&A every week within the Facebook group. So we've started this a few weeks ago, and every week we've done it, I feel like it's been game changing for anyone that hops on live with me and gets their questions answered. We talk so much about marketing, and that's really where the marketing in yoga pants content really hits home. The people in the private Facebook group get to get on live with me and ask their questions and get their questions answered. That's been really awesome. That's been every Thursday at noon Eastern time. And I record all of those, and then I plop them over into our Thinkific account. Again, so if you can't get on live, you can always listen back. And it's almost like, having a whole other podcast episode every week. It's just uncut and a little less scripted, right? It's just kind of free flowing, and I'm answering questions as they come into me. So that's been a great addition to what we're doing here at MIYP. So other than that, over the past few months, we've been talking a lot about, and if you've been around, you know, we've been talking a lot about the mindset being a female entrepreneur. There's a ton of mindset stuff to tackle when we do this. It's not just building a business, but it's really building a business mindset as well, which can be challenging. One of the major topics that we camped out on was the topic of our inner critic. One really great episode with Joe Platt, a life and relationship coach who really specializes in training and understanding your inner critic and getting used to it, knowing how to handle it. That entire episode was really game changing. I feel like for me, for one, and for many of our listeners, because we got to talk a lot about that within the group thereafter that podcast was released. Another conversation that came out of the inner critic conversation was this pressure to be perfect. And I mean, if you're listening to this, 9 chances out of 10, you're a female. And we so often feel the pressure to be perfect in pretty much every facet of our businesses. But this conversation that came up was really more around the pressure to be perfect because of our business, right? So I did write a Monday morning email about this topic, but I want to bring it to the podcast in this format. So in case you missed it, you can get this information and we can start this conversation again. If you got to read it, I want to just riff on it some more because I think it hit home for a lot of you. And I want to bring it out into the open. So this conversation came out of the fact that I picked up on a recurring theme over the course of about a week. I was in a Facebook group, and not the Marketing in Yoga Pants Facebook group, another one. And it came up that this pressure to be perfect. And then I was on our Facebook Live that week within the Marketing in Yoga Pants group, and it came up again, this pressure to be perfect. And then I listened to a podcast, and the podcast episode it was one from Jenna Kutcher. It was so around this topic of this pressure to be perfect because we own a business and because we're quote unquote experts in our field. And I just want to bust that open, you guys. I want to bust it open. I want to talk about it more and just dig in. Okay. So bear with me. This is what we're going to talk about on today's podcast. So I know I can already, I mean, I've talked to enough of you already, but I just have a feeling you felt this intense pressure before to be perfect because of your business, because you're the expert. You feel like you have to be perfect regarding whatever you're the expert on. So for instance, I talk all day about online marketing. And to be honest, this can easily create this feeling, this feeling of being pressured to have a perfect online presence, perfect Instagram feeds and perfect website and perfect social posts and launches and blah, blah, blah. And God forbid if I ever screw up a launch or my strategy doesn't work. That pressure can be crippling, and it was for a while. Maybe you're a life coach, and I mean, and while most of your clients gain really great value from what you do, you still feel the pressure to have your entire life together because, well, I mean, if you didn't, wouldn't that make you a total fraud? It wouldn't, just for just to make that super clear. If that just kind of got your attention and you weren't following the conversation, it doesn't make you a total fraud, but maybe that's something that you're feeling right now. What, maybe you're a fitness trainer and you feel pressured to always look fit and trim and never eat anything you wouldn't suggest your clients to eat, right? Like there's just, I mean, I've been there. I'm from the fitness industry. I totally get that as well. I I think you can probably sense the passion around this topic for me. I've definitely gone head on with this pressure to be perfect many times in my life. And it gets me kind of itchy just coming up with these examples because they're so real, right? They're happening all around us, to our best friends, to our business buds, to everybody. And when this pressure creeps in, it so easily takes over, right? So like one day you're on the phone with your client, helping them slay their goals, you're getting results, you're feeling like a boss. And then somehow the next day, the pressure to be perfect has crept in somewhere. And it's reminded you that while you can talk the talk, you're not always walking the walk. Ooh, that makes you cringe, right? And then maybe you don't post to social media that day because you're feeling kind of down about yourself. And then you hesitate to write that email to that potential client because what if you're not actually good enough to provide this service you're going to pitch? And within hours, you're in this vortex of imposter syndrome, plagued with ding, 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 your inner critic screaming into your ear, I told you this was a bad idea. You put on a front for a while, but see, you don't have your shit together enough to actually do the thing these people are paying you to do. You should just quit now. You can't keep doing this. You're a phony. You're a fraud. And on it goes, you guys, right? Just listening to me, I would bet you're probably getting a little anxious. Like you're feeling that little anxiety well up from these feelings because this is not the first time you've heard it. You hear it from yourself, from your inner critic all the time. And I decided to speak about this on the podcast today because this breaks my heart. I've been there and I've watched you, specifically you, or someone like you go through this many times before. And I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist. I'm not someone that has studied this internal struggle, but I am a human who's been there so many times. And from that perspective, I want to tell you 3 truths. I want to be really real with you about 3 things around this pressure to be perfect. All right. This is where it really gets good. First of all, being perfect is not real life. So I'll go out on a limb and assume we've all had someone in our lives tell us that quote unquote perfect is something to strive for. And at the time, we believed them. But can we all just take a step back for a moment and realize that that person was internally broken, just like you and I are? They were human too, struggling with the pressure to be perfect. And they kind of push that on you, right? Am I right? Just, nod your head. I mean, I'm recording this and who knows what you're doing right now, but I think that's true. Being perfect is not real life. And when we strive for something that cannot come to reality, it will hold us back. The second point I want to make is that business is personal, especially if you're in a client-based, service-based business. Business has to be personal, so let it be. See, people do business with other people, not with companies or brands. It's true. I do marketing all day, right? And it's true. As much as we talk about brands and building a message and company, no, at the end of the day, people do business with people. You, as a person, are doing business with other people. When we're attempting to be perfect, we build a pedestal for ourselves to stand on, and that doesn't allow other people we do business with to get close. And while this might feel safe internally, from a business standpoint, good luck making lasting, loyal business relationships that way. And my third point is you only have to be 2 steps ahead of someone to be genuinely helping them. And we heard this last week, right? From Steph Crowder. This was one of her major takeaways, and I couldn't agree more. I say this so lovingly. Stop acting as if you have to be 500 steps ahead. Imagine, close your eyes if you need to, not if you're at the gym or driving or something, but if you have the opportunity, close your eyes and imagine this, or just think kind of deeply on this. I want you to imagine standing next to your client, your favorite client that you work with. Take 2 steps forward in front of them, reach back and grab your client's hand. You can still reach them, right? Now lead them forward. Works pretty well, right? It works. It's doable. You can do that. So again, you only have to be a couple steps forward to lead them, not 500, right? So this is a huge conversation, one that I want to continue having. And I wanted to bring it to the podcast because the first time I started having this conversation with those of you in the Marketing in Yoga Pants Facebook group, it was kind of a hit. It was vulnerable and it was kind of itchy, like not super comfortable, but I do know that it made somewhat of an impression. So I wanted to bring it here and start this conversation. So I want you to think, have you been allowing the pressure to be perfect to hold you back? Have you been thinking that you need more and you're not quite there yet, so you can't move forward? I want you to really get real about that for a second. And on that note, you're always welcome to hop into the private Facebook group and start a conversation about this. I've already started many conversations about this in the group, and that's been awesome. I think it's been pretty groundbreaking for some people. But you're always welcome to come into the group and find support around this topic. That's why we're there. That's part of our credo, right? Supporting each other while supporting ourselves. So hop into the group if you haven't already and continue chatting about this. Now, this entire topic really brings me to giving you a preview of what's to come at Marketing in Yoga Pants. All right, so at the end of season 1, I asked I want your feedback, you guys. I want you to reach out and tell me, what do you need? Like, what do you think would be valuable for me to give you? And I got some feedback back around more marketing type training, and that's where the open Q&As came from. I also got some feedback around more group-oriented discussions about things, which I can't agree with more. Yes, I'm craving that as well. And while marketing in yoga pants, let me take a step back. That need from some of you that said, I would really love to be able to have, let me take a step back, Dave. I'm going to start that over again. Man, I was on a roll. Damn it. So I heard from a few of you that these group conversations are really where you find the value. And that really got me thinking, how else can I provide this group atmosphere? Can I make it better in marketing in yoga pants? Can I provide it somewhere else that also makes sense? And here's where I landed on that. I've been thinking about that ever since we ended season 1. So it's been a couple months. I've been really, really thinking about this. I think that where marketing in yoga pants is right now with the podcast and the open Q&A and the conversations that are going on in the free private Facebook group, man, I love it. It's so good. And I think you guys are also finding great value in it. So I started to think, okay, well, where else might this need be? And if I can offer it within marketing in yoga pants, how else might I be able to offer it? Because obviously the craving is there, the craving for this group interaction. So I am, as you know, launching season 3, keeping marketing in yoga pants going strong, just as it is. And I'm leaning a lot of my energy into my marketing coaching business, Jam Marketing Group, and developing a group program, a group marketing coaching program for a group of people. I'm still doing one-on-one coaching, but I'm going to be opening up a group program now. So I'm taking a group. I'm starting out with 10 creative entrepreneurs in this group. I'm taking my process that I use with my one-on-one clients, and I'm offering it in more of a semi-self-guided type of offering, but also still with that group and community aspect of things. So the outlook for this just feels really, really good. I'm really excited about offering this thing. So at the time you're listening to this podcast, I'm about to open the doors to that. So if that's just kind of, I just want you to know that that's where a lot of my energy is leaning, right? And if nothing else, marketing in yoga pants is a place to just kind of air out like your direction and where you've been and what you're thinking about doing. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. If that's kind of ringing a bell, you can find all the information over at jammarketinggroup.co. So that's where I'm spending a ton of time, and I've gotten some early feedback on it, and I think it's gonna rock. So always changing, always tweaking and growing, but what's not being tweaked, what's not changing around here is we're going to keep pumping out the amazing high quality podcast episodes every single week. Every single Thursday, we're dropping a podcast episode. Season 3 starts this week, this Thursday. Okay. We are kicking it off with an excellent guest. I am talking with Sarah Christensen of Kick-Ass Masterminds. I had an amazing conversation with her, and I cannot wait for her to kick off season 3. I'm also speaking with, you know how I roll, right? I'm also speaking with a eclectic group of creative entrepreneurs. Some names that you've definitely heard of before, and some names you probably haven't, but they're still eking it out. We are all that girl on our couch, hunched over our MacBook, in our yoga pants, top knot, high on our heads, trying to figure this all out. And I am right there with you doing the same thing. So that feels really good to just get out there. I am super pumped to finish up season 2 and move on to season 3. Feels good to get that progression, just keep seeing that progression happen. And as always, I cannot thank you enough for listening and being a part of the Facebook group and supporting this brand. I don't even have words. It means so much to me. As always, thank you. And as always, I'm always open to suggestions. So as we head into season 3, if you are listening to this and you've got kind of an idea of like, oh, I kind of wish Brit would do this, tell me. Please, 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 please. This is not the Brittany Show. Although this has been a solo cast, this is not the Brittany Show. And I want to make sure that this sisterhood is supporting you in every way that it possibly can. So get a hold of me. I'm always available in the group, always available at brit@marketingandyogapants.com. And of course, find me on Facebook, on Instagram. I'm even on Twitter, you guys. Like, there is no excuse for not getting a hold of me. If you have an idea or if you just want to reach out and give some feedback, I'm all ears. So thank you, as always, for listening. And I will catch you back here on Thursday with our first interview of season 3. Talk to you then. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Marketing and Yoga Pants podcast. Keep the conversation going by visiting marketingandyogapants.com/Facebook, where you'll get to join that private Facebook group I've been talking so much about. There, you'll get to chat with our podcast guests. Yeah, they're in there too, and all of the other brilliant creative business owners. We're connecting, we're meeting our soul sisters, and we're building our businesses, all while in yoga pants. So come hang out with us. Again, visit marketingandyogapants.com/Facebook to get in. And one more thing. If you dig this podcast, would you be awesome and share it with someone? This entire Marketing and Yoga Pants movement is nothing without its community. So please share. And if you're really feeling the love right now, jump into iTunes. You're probably already there if you're listening to this right now. And leave us a rating and review. The more of those we rack up, the more the podcast will be found by ladies like you, and the stronger this community becomes. This episode was edited and produced by the Podcast Engineers. They're pretty great, so go find them at podcastengineers.com. This episode was also brought to you by my online marketing agency, Jam Marketing Group, and you can find us at jammarketinggroup.co. That's all for now. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you back here next week on the Marketing and Yoga Pants podcast. Love ya. Bye.